Hi everyone, it's Varush. Welcome to my channel. I'm excited to be here with you guys to do this reading for the new moon in Pisces. There's a lot of information to get through today in terms of astrology. So I want to see how long it's going to take to convey the information to you and possibly do an all sign on another day, a part 2. If it gets too long, it's just too long, and it is. So just to make sure you get some tarot with this one, let's pull some cards like we did before. So our first card is the Devil that corresponds with Capricorn, which is actually deeply connected to this new moon in a way. And then we have the Nine of Wands, okay? Holding back on something, holding back from temptation is definitely a theme of this moon as well. And then we have the Chariot. There's a energy here, and this is speaking from the astrology of perseverance as well. So overcoming things, moving past certain things, championing over difficulties. So yeah, that's definitely there as well. Magician. These are beautiful energies that are aligned with the astrology I want to share with you right now. And so I just feel like the astrology is too much. So there we have Saturn and Pisces, the Eight of Cups. And Saturn is actually the devil's ruler, right? Because Capricorn is ruled by Saturn as well. Saturn is such a central figure for today's video and reading, and I want to explain to you guys why. We have the King of Pentacles, Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn, secondary transits in fire. We have King of Wands, Sag, Leo, or Aries. There's definitely, I never picked up on this while kind of thinking about what to say and what this is all about, but there's definitely energy that's watching over this situation, protective energy. And so, yeah, so you're not alone in what's going on there. Even if it feels as though there's a lot that you're up against a lot, you definitely are not alone through these circumstances. And then we have the Emperor. There's definitely, and this is most likely you rather than, falling in love. On the bottom, we have the Three of Cups, which is kind of coming back into ourselves, into a more positive state. So when I see these cards, it really aligns with the astrology that I want to tell you guys about today. And so I'm very kind of comforted by that. And so you'll know right away if it's an all sign reading or not. If not, we'll do all signs tomorrow, so you can leave your comments or questions for your sign, and maybe I can talk about it tomorrow when we do the all sign. Because I am feeling like this energy is too much just to get through like the intro astrological discussion and then do an all sign on top of that. Okay, so there's energies definitely associated with this new moon that have a lot of magnifying growth of what is. Okay, that's the core energy. There's an energy here in which we are really going in a specific direction, and it's a very productive and positive direction. And not all the things in our environment may be helpful or conducive to that. This is an area of the sky that is deeply symbolic. There's a reason that Pisces is considered such a special sign, astrologically speaking. It's always been revered across all different forms of astrology. It is the sign, with the most energy behind it. It has so much going on here. And Aquarius as well. So this is really on the cusp of Aquarius at 1 degree of Pisces. And the new moon happens tonight at 11 p.m. So if we do the all sign tomorrow, it will be during the new moon, which is kind of a better way to do a divination reading. So we'll do that then. But it's really, really interesting. It's a very powerful new moon, and it has a lot to do with generation of wealth, generation of growth and personal potential. There's not much here in the way of, well, there is a spiritual component to, like, they're all things. However, there is, it's a very matter of fact, here is the, what is, here is the reality, and you're supposed to interact with that. So one of the first observations is be very careful. Like I could see you as the Knight of Swords here, really coming at whatever is troubling you, the Devil and the Nine of Rods. And you could be coming with a lot of force towards confronting something unjust or unfair. And you will win, but be careful of how you win and how you deal with that. So too much force here can be very problematic, or it can set you back, okay? So this is about claiming what you are. And so this could be confronting something on the outside, but it can be about confronting something on the inside as well. So which means that this could be you coming to terms with the fact that you're good at something. It's not, again, it's not a new moon that has to do with like personal reflection, enlightenment, those kinds of things. But the enlightenment comes in identifying what you have and what you are good at, and then building on top of that, okay? This area of the sky, like I said, is deeply historic, and it's very symbolic for all cultures. Not all cultures, but I think most cultures collectively. And we'll talk about why astrologically in a minute. It's deeply connected to Neptune, which has to do with the globe. But it really has a lot of generational trauma here and generational miracles. So this is the area of the sky in which a lot has happened through our history, human history. And this goes beyond your personal country or your personal ethnicity. This is when, you know, several thousand years back when we were not so diverse. This goes back like several thousand, like 30,000 years, okay? Maybe not 30, but 15,000 years. It goes back a long time, okay? So there's a lot of generational trauma, but there's also the miracle of life that's here. So this is a very special area of the chart, and it's really sacred. And through that, there is this area of spirituality. There is this level of heightened spirituality, but it's not in the sense of love and light or our everyday kind of new age spirituality. This is like core or fundamental. It's like God of the Torah, of the Old Testament, you know, God versus Jesus. Sorry, I'm secular, but it's kind of the same thing. So it's like God is like very blunt, you know, the original God. And then Jesus is like, you know, friendly Christ, if you guys know that reference. And so this is the original, the matter of fact, intense spirituality kind of place. So it's not one, you know, introspection. Yeah, we always introspect, we always meditate, but this is about like what's at hand and what's happening. Okay, so this is actually one of the most misunderstood areas of the chart as well. So a lot of the things that might be out there may be hit and miss in terms of information. Okay, so let's talk about the astrology a bit. And like I said, I don't think I'm going to get into, you know, much more tarot today, but we'll do it tomorrow and ask me your questions. Members, there's more coming. I got really deep in this one, so I don't know. There's so bird's eye view as to what's happening. We've had Saturn Sun conjunction in Aquarius on the 16th. This gave us clarity of vision and truth. I did a video on that. You can check it out in the description. We also had the Sun enter Pisces on the 18th. And so Pisces season. Hi, Pisces, people born during Pisces season. Hello, nice to see you. Happy birthday, you guys. But yeah, Pisces season is a very special Pisces season, and I'll tell you guys about that about that next. But there's also the like conjunction between Neptune and Venus that just has happened in Pisces, and that was connected to the triple conjunction last year. So there's a lot of pent up Piscean energy here. It's very Piscean, but this is the other type of Pisces energy. It's not the frou frou woo woo sort of light spirituality. This is the God of the Old Testament. Like I said, I'm secular. I'm not trying to feed you religion, but it's, if you know, that old God was blunt. That old God wasn't Buddy Christ. You know, he was intense. All respect to Christianity. I'm not, you know, shading anyone, but we all know the old God was the tough and tumble one, while the Jesus Christ was the friendly version. Okay, and then the other thing that's happening is the new moon tomorrow, and then Venus enters right into Aries the next day. So what does that all mean? We've had, you know, activity in Aquarius, a lot in Pisces, a lot of, you know, highs, and in terms of Venus exalted, the sun entering it. So there's like this huge water energy that comes in. I'm surprised actually that there's not more water cards here, but the water energy really strongly reintroduces itself. And maybe this is why I'm finding this energy really heavy. I have lots of water in my chart and I really like it, but it's like a deluge, you know, it's like, it's a lot of water coming in, a lot of emotions. And that's a huge factor of this new moon. Just suddenly there's a lot of awareness. Someone turns on the lights in terms of emotions and whatnot. Okay. So I'm going to go through a couple different transits and then kind of talk to you guys about that. So first of all, I just wanted to say something really quick. Last time I did a video, I mentioned something about houses, and I said something about rising signs, sun signs, and it wasn't directed at anyone. I just saw constantly people trying to talk over others and say, you know, you should watch this or that. And I think it's somewhat problematic when people argue about it. I think that the arguments for and against are problematic in and of themselves. And I think it's just a lot of kind of gaslighting, honestly, that a lot of people do. But I wasn't aware of this, but there was this problem that's going on in one category of astrology. I don't even know how to call it. One group of people are in some kind of conflict that I wasn't aware of about when that happened. And I guess that's why I was hearing so much arguing going on, because there was this conflict behind the scenes, but I didn't know about it. So my comments were not directed at anyone in particular. Having said that, some of the people pointing fingers, like, I'll just tell you guys, in terms of the people who are problematic to me in coming back and doing astrology, the people who are copying me, who are being unfair, who are being corrupt, or like, there's a lot of people from that category doing those things more so than any other group of people. There's people in your group, and I understand it's a really interesting field of astrology that actually is having this issue. I really like it, so I'm not calling out the group, and there's many wonderful people who work in that group who are mindful and smart, and I like them. But there's an overwhelming wave of people that are egotistical, narcissistic, and inappropriate, who are under your wings, who have been your students or who work aside you, and they are stirring the pot in a big way. And I think some of the problems that you're having are actually from these people that are tarnishing your good name. So I'm not saying that everyone in this group of astrology is bad. I think that the good ones, who are actually really good, very reputable, are actually being undermined by other people who are in their category, who are not, who are just, you know, doing fast courses and doing what they do. And I think that that's really unfortunate. There's fields of astrology that are very light, and they're very not serious. And so when it's an unserious field, it's okay. It's expected that there will be people that are full of fluff. But when you see a serious field in which people do take it seriously and do put a lot of effort towards something, it's weird that they're commingling or, you know, working alongside with people who are openly hostile and openly problematic. I'm one of those people that actually takes astrology seriously. I'm a nerd about it. But I don't try to be too heavy. So that's what I wanted to say to them. I said it on my Twitter, but I have a new Twitter. It's small, so no one really saw it. So that's my thoughts on it. I know you can be upset with the people saying this and that about you. I understand that. But you should be upset with the people. And I'm saying this because I see it. And the most problematic people towards me have been people from your category. And so you should be frustrated with them as well, because those are the people that are bringing the negative attention towards you by being inappropriate towards others, or kind of, yeah. So that, I think that's it. Having said that, I said something about equal chart division, this is like the whole house system. And I said the whole house system was the first system in astrology. So part of the debate that was going on that got really personal had to do with whole houses. So I said, yeah, whole houses have been around and they were the first one. That's not correct. So I just want to clarify, just in case someone saw that, the first type of house division was based on the constellations, not on these equidistant houses. However, there's two different types of astrology, or two different cultures that adapted equal house system first, and that was the Babylonian astrologers and the and Egyptian astrologers. And so they developed these whole houses, these equidistant houses, 30 degrees each. So saying that there was no equidistant astrology, or whole houses, is just wrong. And so I agree with that. But it wasn't the first house system. The first house system was based on constellations, and so therefore certain constellations like Pisces were really, really long. Sorry, that got a little nerdy, a little detailed, but I hope that it helps or brings light to whatever is going on for people. Okay, so what's going on here with the new moon? The new moon is at 11 p.m. tonight at 1 degree of Pisces, and it's conjunct Saturn. So one of the reasons why I wanted to mention that the constellations were different sizes, because it brings me to my point today. In ancient times, there's a really fine line between especially Aquarius and Pisces. This is a huge constellation, and so is this. Aquarius reaches right into Capricorn and Saturn, and as Capricorn and Aquarius, and that's part of the reason why Saturn rules both signs. And so there's an overlap in constellations, and so saying that there's a definitive boundary that keeps one transit out of the other, if you believe that, so be it. But I think that that's logically out of balance, and if we are using a historical perspective and taking interpretations from, the past into now, that's not how it started. So these and the boundaries of these constellations were different than our current modern ones. So it becomes a weird conversation. So it is what it is. So when we say there's a stellium here between, and you guys will see why this is important. I wasn't just trying to stir drama, but it refers to this new moon. And it's a good learning opportunity, right? So it is very much a stellium with Saturn. And actually, this is the first decan of Pisces that is ruled by Saturn. So in traditional astrology. So this area of the chart is ruled by Saturn. And it's true that Saturn is combust behind the sun right now. I'm very sparing with this combust idea. I'm more prone to think of the combustion as something happening behind the scenes. So Saturn is behind the sun. So we may not be seeing what's going on in the world around us, but something is happening there. And I think that we're actually going to see the outcome of whatever Saturn's doing, in Aquarius behind the sun while we can't see it, about March 7th, 2023, which is the full moon in Virgo coming up next. So we'll talk about that later. And I already told you guys that March 7th is on my radar for more tectonic activity I don't want to get into it here. I kind of put the more alarmist stuff on Twitter. So if you want to hear my like off the cuff raw interpretations, go there. I don't feel comfortable talking about it on YouTube. It's just, you know, because on Twitter also you can ask me questions, I can answer much faster. So if something is troublesome to you, it's just more direct. So yeah, so March 7th, when Saturn exits this combustion, comes out from behind the sun, it gets far enough away from the sun, and we have this full moon. I wonder what's going to come to the surface. So there's two little things going on, not two little things, but two things that may be emerging with the full moon in Virgo on March 7th. So we'll talk about that later. But yeah, Saturn combust matters. It makes it more subversive, but it's still ruling the first decan of Pisces. And so what happens with this is, with this new moon, there's this initiating energy. Let's go back to the core energy of this new moon. And this core energy of this new moon is very volatile. We've already seen the several different changes that are happening between Aries, Aquarius, and Pisces. There's, you know, some really high points like Venus exalted that are going on. And no low points necessarily, but there's definitely a lot of energetic switching between fire and air and water. There's not much earth represented here. So energy is at a high point, and we'll see again why that is in a minute more. And so this new moon is a pinnacle in some ways. And so Saturn, in conjunction to this, is just bringing something material. And this is what I wanted to say, that there was this energy of, you know, what is, take what is. Saturn is very practical. And in this area of the chart, we're talking about boom or bust. Like something can really blossom and grow, but something can go incredibly wrong here as well. And I'm not trying to be alarmist. The simple fact of the matter is that you're supposed to sit in this area with this new moon, and this is why I'm so late with doing this video. Find the right energy and the right frequency through which to align to which to combine your energy with. And there is definitely potential energy here of difficulties, and so it's very important in how you manage it. It's a very fast-moving energy of the chart. So in other words, it's like being in an argument with someone and saying the right thing versus saying the wrong thing. If you say the right thing, you reach higher connection and you reach higher understanding. And if you say the wrong thing, then it could really be destructive. So, you know, like I said, it's you can see the high frequency of this energy. I hope you can sense it. And just before you get alarmed or worried, remember our last card is the Emperor. So whatever you're facing, if you come at it in this very wholehearted, you know, practical, balanced way, you are protected. There are energies with you, and you will find a solution. We have the Chariot, the Cancer card. You have a solution. You have the way to overcome. And there are ways to getting beyond things. Somebody's walking away. The devil's walking away. So the threat or the negativity is going away. Just play your cards right. That's what I'm trying to say. And so Saturn is at the core of this energy. So it's kind of like being in a room full of, you know, weird people. Not weird, but like dynamic people with lots of different varying energies, and knowing how to handle it all and being in the right space. So I like it. I do like it, but just, you know, so the other thing that, okay, so now I can talk. I'm trying to pick my order well, because it's actually a complicated energy, so I could jump around a lot. So I'm trying to keep it really cohesive for you guys. So here's another reason. So when I said it's a pinnacle energy, and I'm glad I kind of organized to say this here. Look, Venus is in Pisces at 29 degrees. and actually in the last minutes of Pisces. I'll talk about that in a sec. And then we have Pluto in Capricorn at 29 degrees. These are anaretic degrees. They're very, very powerful. End of chapter sort of stories. Look at this. Venus at 29 degrees. Any degree of 29 degree of Pisces is super intense. There's a star called Sheat here. I'm not saying the bad word. And it's associated with, like I said, deluge, unexpected, like being overwhelmed. And so, but there's a silver lining to this position as well. And that is fast thinking and being very wise and having clarity of vision. And if you have a degree here, if you have a placement here, it doesn't say those things about you. It's more of, you know, when there's transits here, like Venus right now, you want to really be careful of this flooding sort of energy, okay? And so what's going on is that Venus and Pluto are on a sextile, which is a 60-degree separation, and it's considered a very benefic, harmonious connection. But if we look at this, Saturn and the Sun are in the midpoint of that separation. So they're right in between, and the new moon is essentially right in between this. And as the moon approaches tonight, after as I'm filming this, it's happening, but as we go to bed tonight, as the moon approaches the sun, I'm Pacific time, sorry if you're somewhere else, but as the moon approaches this area overnight, it's going to hit the midpoint degree, and it's going to be the midpoint between Saturn and the sun. So it's a real balancing act. I just heard, and I heard someone share something in Arabic from like a something being equal forward and back. And I'm sorry, I don't have the proper reference for it, but it had like 5 different parts to it. It was like a saying or something like this. And there was 5 parts, and the first energy and the last energy were the same. The second energy and the third energy were the same. And the one in the middle was like the thing holding it all together. So it's kind of like I forget the word for it, but we have the same kind of balance here. So we have Pluto and Venus balancing each other out. We have the Saturn and the Sun balancing each other out, and they're in alignment, right? They'll be in alignment, like we said, until about March 7th. And then we have the moon for a brief time tonight right in between. So there's definitely some kind of bringing something to the surface, something coming in, something structurally coming out. And I don't think you should be shy or back out of it. I don't think that that's a bad thing. And I do think it overshadows. I almost didn't tell you guys about Sheat and Venus, because this energy to me feels very pragmatic and very balanced. It is in an area of the chart like, don't rock the boat. Don't rock the boat here, basically. But assert yourself in a helpful way. And you really want to align to this energy of, being in and of yourself, being true to yourself, looking at what you do well and who you are in a like practical way, like what is good about you, and applying that and moving forward on that. So it's a very literal sort of thing. Like, I am good at tarot. I will read tarot for you guys, or I'll do astrology. So you stick to your strengths, you know? I wanted to say the G word, but you know, it's not so appropriate. Okay, so there's more. So Saturn is actually quite balanced here. I like it here, even if it's not combust, but it is ruling the first decan of Pisces. There's more to it. So this is also a new moon that's marking a 3-year cycle, roughly. There's not going to be a new moon in Pisces without Saturn there, and diminishes that energy until March 2026. So 3 years from now. So essentially we're going to have this long transit, and Saturn is going to be affecting all the new moons. So this is the last new moon in Pisces energy that we are going to have like really overwhelming, you know, Piscean new beginnings. So really pay attention to what you're putting out. The idea is look at who you are, look at what's good about you, look at what you have that works for you, that's positive. Ignore the outside stuff and move forward with confidence, right? So no new moon here until 2026 without Saturn being there. That's significant. So it's also, okay, so be very aware of the energy that you're magnifying. Again, I'm not trying to jump around. Where else did I say this? Okay, so I can tell you this now. There's another kind of last thing with this new moon. This is the last time there's a new moon here while Saturn's not here, while Neptune is in the chart. And this is a huge long cycle thing. Neptune's been in Pisces for years. And so Neptune's the ruler of Pisces, and it's moving into Aries next. And you know, this whole, like, we've had like a renaissance of sort, you know, tarot, astrology on the internet. We've been very creative. And this is in part thanks to Neptune in Pisces. And so as Neptune moves out of Pisces and into Aries, we're saying goodbye to an aspect of that. So this new moon has this element of beauty, of magic, of creativity. So if you're a creative person, use this new moon to double down on that. We will still get new moons as Neptune is moving towards its end of transit, but Saturn will be here as well. So this is the one in which there's nothing that's constricting us or cutting in on that creative energy. So, you know, this is it, folks. Enjoy. It's heavy, and that's why I've been I've been sitting with all this, and I've been mulling it over and trying to like process it and think about like all these energies. And you should be sitting with it too, or connecting with it, and then moving forward with what makes sense. And so it might be a lot. It might be a lot of information going on inside of you. I think that we should take a break, and you guys can hang out and think about it tonight. And then tomorrow we'll do an all sign, and we'll go through every single sign and talk about it more in the new energy. So that will be exciting as well. Okay. So Neptune's the big magic kind of thing here in Pisces. It's the modern ruler of Pisces. Now, I did mention Venus. I kind of took Venus kind of out of this because it would be too long. But Venus is the traditional ruler, and Neptune is the modern ruler of Pisces, the high octave, right? Beyond this, Neptune is so connected to Pisces, way beyond modern astrology, and it's really it's older than modern astrology in a way as well. And so this for anyone who says, oh, Neptune modern astrology, that's silly, it's perfectly placed here. And it's just so like historical, and it's so connected to the Pisces sign. So Neptune here is like really abundant, and you know, the new moon happening in Pisces before Neptune leaves is significant as well. So the thing that I wanted to say, Neptune and Venus had their conjunction on the 15th, and then that referenced last year's conjunction. So Buddy Christ number 2 was born, yeah. And then and so there is this beautiful energy here of, you know, love, of creativity, or of kind of creative, romantic views on life. And you should not waste it, because it's not going to last forever. And this is really, for everything that's going on in the world, all the good and the bad, it's really a high point in a way, Neptune and Pisces, through the last few years. It gives us a way to cope, and it gives us all our silly little nuances to our culture right now. And you should embrace that with this new moon. In fact, this new moon is interesting because it's happening at a semi-sextile to where Venus is. So about 30 degrees, almost 30 degrees. So at each side of the sign. And in some way, whatever's beginning this 3-year cycle, this 3-year of new moons alongside Saturn, 3 years of new moons alongside Saturn, that energy is this energy between Venus and Neptune, and then Venus and Neptune, and then Neptune here, the rulers of Pisces. Venus is not the ruler, Jupiter is. Sorry, that I just got emotional. She's exalted in Pisces. Sorry, I backtrack. Anyway, she's important. But the fact that this energy is on each side of the sign, this new moon to me signifies that over the next 3 years, something's going to really grow out of this energy. And so I encourage you to be kind. I encourage you to be mindful. Like, these cards are beautiful this is what I wanted to see. Such power cards. So we have the Chariot, we have the Emperor, and the Magician, right? And so you're bringing some real quality to this energy, whatever's going on in your life. And this is encouragement for you to look past. These troubles are already moving behind you. They're just, spooks, devil, trying to freak you out, right? And so you're already moving past in very productive directions. And so I feel like the fact that Venus and Neptune are here, whatever's going on with that conjunction on the 15th, is kind of like a foreshadow of where this energy is going to grow to over the next 3 years. So it's kind of like another way to see the Saturn in Pisces transit. It's another way to see how that will affect the new moons over the next 3 years and where this energy will go. So write down exactly what's going on for you. As I told you about all this, write down what's going on for you in the energies that I've described and try to connect with it. It's a vibe, right? So I hope that you can connect with it. Okay. So yeah, it's showing the outcome of the Saturn and Pisces transit. And you can write down things in the world as well, whether it's personal or in public. Okay. Okay. So once Saturn enters into Pisces, I was reading my notes, we're going to get a lot of harsh reality on what Neptune in Pisces was all about. We're going to start seeing, because Neptune moves into Aries right before Saturn moves into Aries. So they're actually transiting into Aries right about the same time in February 2026. Okay? So this Saturn transit is very synchronistic with the end of the Neptune and Pisces transit. And so this new moon is your last dreamy, energetic push into manifesting, this high Neptunian octave of love of who you are. So love yourself through this, love yourself through this energy. And so as Saturn enters into Pisces, we're going to get a lot of wake-up calls on a lot of different things. One of the things is substance use, irrational thinking, magical thinking, all like unhealthy ways of approaching things. Gaslighting is going to get really checked. And what we've been impractical about. So we're going to get 2.5 years of wake-up call, and it's not going to affect only, it's not going to only affect the Saturn in Pisces. It's affecting the whole transit of Saturn and Neptune in Pisces. So this new moon is the last kind of unbridled, moment. So enjoy it and be inspired by it, because it's not something that's going to show up in your life again. It's beautiful. So I wanted to show you guys some activation points for Saturn, Neptune, and Venus, because they're really important. So Saturn is going to be in the first degrees of Pisces for a really long time. In fact, Saturn and the moon are going to join in Pisces on November 30th. Hold on. Where did I write this down? It's going to be the end of November. I didn't write this down. Just from memory, it's November 30th or something, 2023. Saturn and the moon are going to join actually in this position as well. So this is going to be coming to us, this new moon energy, is going to start being rehashed and worked through by Saturn over the next year. And there's 3 periods of time in which Saturn is going to be particularly close to this new moon energy. And that is March 16th through the 24th, 2023, September 22nd through October 10th, 2023, and November 28th through December 15th, 2023. And at these times, there's going to be, it's going to be in this area of the chart. And so whatever this dreamlike manifestation of what you are, or this, it's like okay, so how do I explain? I've not been explaining it perfectly. How do you show love to yourself without all the constraints in the world? What do you love about yourself the most? What do you love about who you are in the world, or what you represent in the world the most? It can be anything. It could be your beauty. It could be your knowledge. It could be things that you own or possess. Don't be judgmental of it. What's the best thing about you? Now embrace that and love it and double down on it. That's the energy of this new moon here. And so Saturn, through those 3 points, will be reviewing and helping you mold this energy that's arising right now. And so write that down, those 3 times that I just mentioned. Those will be the times as you refine it. But through this new moon, it's not time to refine it yet. This is your time to assert it and put it into action, okay? There's also, since it's Neptune that's leaving, a very important date that's actually very important for this awareness is also the months of March, August, September 2012, and then December 2012 through January 2013. That's when Neptune was in this area of the chart. And that doesn't include 12, 12, 12. A lot of people are superstitious about that. It was literally December 28th, 2012 through January 2013. So look back on those dates and see what was going on there, and who are you then back in 2013, and where are you now, right? And so this gives you probably, Neptune hopefully in Pisces has taught you a better version of you. People talk about all sorts of different things, but I hope that it's shown you a best version of you. And so maybe reflect upon that. How much have you changed since those years? So long ago now, 10 years ago now. So Venus activations, okay? So Venus, let's look back and forth a little bit. Venus was in this position twice recently, February 26, 2021, and January this year, 28th, 2023. So just like a few days ago, not long ago. And then moving forward, Venus will be here again on March 13th, 2024 and January 4th, 2025. So this is how her energy is going to be moving forward. And remember, in this area, be careful of, you want to embrace the emotion and celebrate yourself. But with here at the 29th degree, be careful of getting messy or sloppy. Okay. And so this is just a couple other things like observations or considerations. This new moon, like I said, has a lot of nuance here, and it's actually located in the Pegasus constellation, which is a modern constellation, and there are older variations or different variations of it. And so in Arabic astrology, that is called the horse. And so there's a star here at which this new moon's happening. It's called Enif, and it's the nostril of the horse, but it sounds funny, but it's actually the impact point. So if you think of someone riding a horse very quickly, actually this is perfect. So you see this man on this horse, and they're galloping like full speed ahead. So the new moon is happening. Well, I don't have to point to it, you can see it. The nose of the horse, the nostril of the horse. So that point is breaking new ground very, very quickly. And this means that, like I said again and again, what you initiate at this time magnifies and doubles up And so you really want to come at things with good energy under this new moon. And it's deeply connected with ascension, and it's also deeply connected with conflict. I'm not saying conflict will start, but energy here is very, it's like being in a holy place, right? It's not even like, it is a holy place. And in that holy place, like a hospital, or pristine, you or a church or whatever, mosque, you have to be pristine. You have to be, that's where you're the cleanest. At grandma's house, right? You want to be at your best at grandma's house. Okay, so here's an observation also, just to finish up, and this is a nice astrology kind of perspective. If you recall, over the last couple of videos, I introduced some symmetry here that was called the Kite. It was a kite formation off of the nodes, and I talked about this on the focus on the South Node, and this was the bending of the nodes in the Sun in February, and the Venus Exalted video, and I'll link both down below. And so if you want a refresher, but essentially what happened was there's been a very steady grand trine, essentially, that had been formed off of Pallas Athena, the South Node, and transits here in Pisces, okay? And so this formed a grand trine and a kite formation, and essentially activating the nodes. And so this has been with us. At first, I think it was like the moon here, or the moon was here, and it was just activated. But because Pallas Athena is here, which is an asteroid minor planet, this energy has continued with us all this time. So watch those previous videos to see how that is impacting us. Having said that, this puts a lot of emphasis on the nodes that are in their last phase of the Scorpio-Taurus transit. And the Scorpio-Taurus transit, as I've told you before, is one of the more significant transits of the nodes. It's like one of the more significant placements for the nodes, especially I think with the North Node in Taurus, South Node in Scorpio. So that happens once every 20 years. And so here we have also a couple fixed stars that are worth recognizing, that give us hope and promise this good outcome. We have the star Hamal, and so this is the sunrise herald. It's signaling a new beginning, and even though there's no direct aspect to the new moon, as the moon enters up, and the moon transits really quickly in Pisces. So as the moon transits up in Pisces a bit more and locks in this kite energy, there's going to be a real push forward with the North Node. So we're actually being pushed along with this new moon. And by the time we read tomorrow morning, how about that? The all sign, we're going to be pushed towards the North Node here. And there's another fixed star here called Shetter. And this is in the Casseopia constellation. And so Casseopia, it's a contentious story again, because she was an Ethiopian queen, some say it was a vain queen, the mother of Andromeda, some stories say. And so she was placed up in the heavens, and she goes upside down sometimes and right side up as punishment for her behavior. But there's a lot of nuance to Casseopia, and Shetter is right in her chest. And so the star Shetter represents her chest. And so I think that there's the nuance that I think that connects with this new moon has something to do with kind of like how do I say this? Hold your own in a situation. And there is this this energy of like, if you, and I'm not saying, because it's a touchy subject because of the Queen of Ethiopia, because it has a little bit of, not a little, it has it is said that it has something to do with colonialism, and so it's a very kind of touchy subject. But in one of the interpretations, the idea here is hold your head high through everything that's happened, and re-identify within yourself your own virtue, and then convey that to the world. What happens with this constellation is that sometimes it's upside down and sometimes it's right side up, and that's a part of her punishment. And so just make sure that you're on the right side of things in circumstances. And so just the last thing that I want to impart with you guys today is remember that you are mirroring your actions are mirroring what is going on. And so who you are is magnifying out with this energy. This is a very important new moon. And so it's almost like if you had one sentence to say to someone and that would be it on a topic or to them forever, what would you say? If you had one sentence or a couple sentences to define yourself into who you are, what would you say and how would you define yourself? So put your foot down on something respectfully, but then also be very careful of not indulging that energy too much. So be mindful in how you do it, and you'll do well. You are doing well. And do not allow malefic energies to corrupt you through your ego. And that's referencing especially the Casseopia North Node connection here. The idea that, outside forces may try to tempt you, may try to corrupt you, but you want to maintain this perfect balance between these transitioning very, very intense energies. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed this. It was a long 50 minutes. Wow. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Thank you for watching. I will talk to you guys soon, and tomorrow we'll do an all sign. Okay, thank you for watching. Take care. Bye.